Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome. We're going to talk here about how can your strengths increase your energy and fulfillment at work. My name is Ilse and I am here with Liesel Teversham. Liesel works with sensitive introverts who want more confidence to be visible and talk about their transformational work. I work with professionals who are in transition and who want to grow more self-aware, and I help them navigate those changes successfully. So let's start, Liesel. I'm very excited about talking about this. We met and we discovered that we share a same passion. We work with different methodologies, but we share this passion around strengths, right? How, we love helping our clients knowing their strengths. So can you start off with why is it important to know your strengths?
Ilse, yes, I share your passion about this topic because I've seen the results in my own life of knowing my strengths and also in my clients. So the three main benefits I've seen is around three things. There's relationships that I see the benefits in, there's work life, and then there's our confidence, which sort of emanates everywhere. So with relationships, what happens is when we know our strengths, we can start having compassion for ourselves and for others, because sometimes we get blamed or judged for doing things in a certain way while other people don't see it in the way that we can do things. So it really helps to know what's our strengths and our weaknesses so that we can bring in compassion in our relationships with ourselves and others. And then in our work life, when we know our strengths and our weaknesses, we can understand what's going to be draining for us and stop wasting time there and spend most of our energy and effort and investment of our time, energy, and um, just our passion into the areas of strength. And that feels very, very energizing. And then the other thing is it builds confidence, because when we know these things, we absolutely know that they will come to our aid no matter what. And so I'm curious about your experience, because you work with a different tool, but also the same field. So how do you see, what does it bring to us to know our strengths?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It improves our relationships indeed because we feel, as you say, more confident, right? Because we know our strengths. That also means that we feel calmer and we can also appreciate others much more. So, we can appreciate the things they might have a strength which we don't have, and, we recognize others for that. And so it's learning how to make that distinction between, okay, what is a strength? As you say, I don't talk about weaknesses. I prefer to talk about drainers, because I believe that we can do everything. It's just, it's just about the energy, which we'll talk about later. But so indeed, it's very much the same. I notice that people get more confident because it's like, okay, I know who I am, what I'm great at, what I love doing, and it improves their relation because they start looking at people through the glasses of strengths. So they see the qualities of others also. And of
Yes.
course, in work, you know what to choose, and people, my clients, and consciously are able to make a decision on which job, which position they would prefer.
Absolutely. It brings such clarity, is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing you say.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just to go back for a moment to the point that you made about weakness, trainer, I see it in exactly the same way. And it's lovely that we can describe it in different ways. And with my work as well, we talk about something as a weakness, not because you cannot do it, but because it makes you feel weak, because it drains your energy.
Yeah,
So exactly that same, very same point. Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. That's interesting. I never thought of it makes you feel weak. I feel, yeah, but it's
Yes.
interesting. Yeah, but that's indeed the thing. We'll talk about it later on. I think it would be interesting to also give tips around that. But indeed, it's about, yeah, feeling that emptiness, that drain, and when we feel empty and drained, we feel less strong, for sure. Yeah.
For sure, yes. Whereas the strengths, the things that make us feel strong, the activities that makes us feel strong is a strength. The ones that makes us feel weak is a weakness. That's the terminology that we kind of use to help it just be quite clear. But the drainer is a very good term. So then, what are the signs of a strength that you've noticed in your work?
Yeah. For me, there are three signs that I always name. One is it's something that comes naturally to you. So it's something that we naturally do well. We don't even think about it. And that's often, with strengths when people, somebody might name a strength of yours and then think, yeah, but it's so easy, it's no big deal kind of thing. And it's so obvious to us that we don't even see that we're not aware that it's actually a strength. So it comes naturally to us. It's something that we can do well over and over again. There's no what's that expression? I forgot, but beginner's luck kind of thing. It's something that we really can do well. And that's where the energy comes again. It's about it's an activity which gives us mental energy. So we might feel drained physically, we might feel tired physically, let me use that word rather, but we feel mentally still energized. So these are three signs that, if you have those three, that means that, it's very likely to be indeed a strength. That's what we need to then look at.
That's beautiful. I love that. So clear and distinct to be able to go with those signs.
Yeah. And this is indeed, as we talked about earlier, it's not about what you can do, because in C, you can do everything. Why not? Right? But
Yes.
it's about, that energy. Do you get that energy when you do that activity?
Yes, precisely. And so if I can add to that, the signs of the strengths that I've seen is very similar to yours. I love how we can have this conversation coming from different angles, but pointing to exactly the same thing. Is I've got 4 signs. So and we use the acronym SIGN, SIGN, to help us understand those 4 signs. So the first one is, where have you had success? So some people have commented to say, oh, you do that thing so well, like what you've said as well. But we have to be careful with that one, because sometimes we have a skill that we've practiced over and over. So we do it well, but we actually hate the thing. So it's not the only sign of a strength. So then comes the I, which is for the instinct we have to keep volunteering in that direction. It's like, how do I feel before? Do I feel energized even thinking of offering my energy or my activity, my
Yeah.
behavior in that direction? So the instinct I have to keep volunteering in that direction. The G is for growth. How much do I grow and how easily do I grow in that thing? The activity. And how do I feel while I'm doing it? Like time goes by fast and I can concentrate and I
Exactly.
feel focused on it. And then the N is for a need. Like after the activity, like you said, I may feel tired because I've used hours of my day to do this thing, but I feel like a need was fulfilled. So I feel more, I can, it's like, yes, I feel tired now, but tomorrow I want to do it again. So a need was fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I love referring to those 4 things. It's also just exactly what you said in different words.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe it would be interesting to give an example. What would be an example of um, some some talent that a client can you remember maybe a client who thought, okay, this is a talent, and then had to come to the conclusion working with you that actually it wasn't a talent, or the other way around?
Well, let me give you an example of somebody who wanted to create a business where she was going to she wanted to teach English to Japanese people. She's Japanese
Mm-hmm.
by background, and then she wanted to go to Japan and teach English to students there. But she had in mind that she was going to have to do like, I don't know, 5 sessions a day with 30 people in a group and talking all day long in order to teach these things. And she kept thinking like this is her vision, but something about it was switching her off, and she couldn't understand why, because it was her vision for years to teach English to Japanese people. And when we looked at her list of strengths, Ilse, it transpired very quickly that she was going to be feeling so drained after she did, because the talent of verbal expression is low on her list. It's that thing that would make her feel weak. The talents where she had to work with groups of people were low on her list. So she was going to feel drained. So she hadn't even started this job. While she was even in the thinking and the planning phases, she started feeling the drain on her energy already.
Wow.
So when she found out these things, she decided very quickly to change tack. It's like, no, I can do this in a different way. Maybe it's not me that stand there and do the teaching, but I can find somebody whose strengths those that is.
Absolutely.
So that's an example.
Yeah. Great. Wow.
Right.
She's been lucky to work with you. Imagine she would have, you know, she would have been quite unhappy in her job.
She would
Yeah.
have been very unhappy. Do you have an example? Can you think?
Yeah, and I'll let me actually give a reverse example. I had a client who when we were talking, we were discussing her strengths, and one of her strengths, according to the method I work with, was strategic thinking, strategic insight. And she said, no, 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 not true. That's not the case. She was in complete denial. Now, she had been criticizing the strategy of her um, business unit head. She was telling me the strategy. She gave her comments on it. She criticized it. She said, rather than doing this, we should be doing that. And so basically, what she was doing, she was telling me what the strategy should be. But yet, when she saw the core talents, I mean, that strong talent being strategic thinking, she was saying, no, no, no. So she took really a while. It took a couple of sessions before she finally accepted that indeed it was one of her strengths. And today she has a job where she uses her strategic thinking much more actively than she used to, because she's grown aware of it. So that's
Yes.
interesting, right? How knowing your talents can indeed prevent you from getting into a job which can drain you. And at the same time, as you grow aware of your talents, you can really fine tune the your job to suit your talents better.
Exactly. I love it. So one of the sort of sentences in my world is, if you know it, you can grow it.
Yes,
If you're
absolutely.
not aware that it's there, how can you grow it? And you've got these tendencies, this like in you, that want to come out, but they haven't got a channel. So there must be some frustration inside. That's why sometimes we don't feel completely fulfilled.
Yeah,
Something I haven't done yet, and I'm not sure what that is.
yeah,
So knowing these talents can help us figure that out.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, how do you recognize those energy drains, Ilse?
Yeah, I think the name pretty much gives the clue. It's really indeed we feel drained. And you've also talked about feeling weak. I think these are the things, it can also be literally, feeling physically unwell. Like you can get a headache when you do that. You can feel, irritable. You're much more irritable because you're doing something that you really don't like. And it's, again, this is not about not being able to do it. It's really about something that, it doesn't fire you. You don't look forward to it. Quite the opposite. You think, oh no, now I have to do, like in my case, accounting. Oh, I mean, many people
Yes.
don't like it, but but so those are I think you again, you feel it physically. Those are the physical signs, I think.
That is absolutely right. That's what I experience in my own life too. When I have to focus on things that are draining for me, I feel this, like I often get a headache. Like I have to concentrate so hard that it literally uses so much of my mental energy that it feels like I have nothing left for other things.
Yeah.
So then what, how can we deal with that? Because like we say, sometimes it's not that we cannot do that or that we mustn't or that we must stay away from it at all costs, but how can we deal with that, Ilse? When we have these drainers, what now?
Yeah. Um, well, there is one thing which I also indicate to my clients is one thing is you have to make sure that 75% of the time, at least, you
Mm,
work with your energy givers, right? Your talents, your
right.
strengths. So that's one, because then, there's a 3-to-1 ratio of Barbara Fredrickson where we know, okay, the end balance is positive. So that's one thing. And yes, when you have to do something where you have to use one of your energy drainers, you can, well, first, my experience is because I know I have to use my energy drainers, already it shifts my energy. I feel, okay, I'm aware of it. So therefore, okay, let me just get done with it kind of attitude, so that makes it less draining, less dramatic, let's say. I think that's one thing. Then one can also look for solutions, right? So, okay, maybe you have a colleague who loves doing it. It's possible, what drains me might give another person energy. So, you can look at, reallocating parts of the job. As entrepreneurs, we can outsource certain things. Don't look at, okay, well, if it doesn't give you energy, if you feel frustrated, see if you can't outsource it. You can also learn skills to kind of make it easier, or maybe consciously use other talents, other strong talents to, still go through it and with still having some energy. Those are the things that come up for me.
Yeah,
Um,
those are fantastic. I love them. Yes, yes. So in my world, I see our drainers as the things that we resist. Like you'd also talked about that, like we're like, oh no, I have to do that thing. We can even resist that talent in someone else. Like when somebody with that talent shows up in our world, we might think like, I just don't like that person and I don't really know why. It may be because they have that talent and it's a drainer for me. So we resist that. We feel bored. There's like no confidence when we have to do that thing. We just don't want to. It's not easy. We feel drained. And I've got really similar tips to yours. I find it so amazing how we interlace here with similar things. Sometimes we have to do those things.
mm,
And then it's best if we surround them with things that are strengthening for us. So, for instance, for me, I like talking about examples. Communication, verbal expression is one of mine that are on the low side for me. It's a drainer for me. So I have to organize my day so that I don't have 5 meetings back to back where I have to talk. I can do maybe 2. But before that, I do a strengthening activity like I read or I think. One of my talents is intellection. I like just thinking things through. And then after all the talking, I have to do some, maybe go for a walk or do something that connects me with nature, that's strengthening for me.
yeah,
So having that sort of bookmark, what do you call these things? Bookends, right? For the
yeah, yeah,
draining things, and which relates to your 75%
yeah,
thing as well.
absolutely.
And again, very much is use other people for who those things are strengthening and they love doing it. And their enthusiasm and ease kind of spills the energy over to us, even if we still have to do that thing, drawing on other people's strengths.
Yeah,
Just help us through life. We don't have to be good with it all. It's just such a fallacy.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and that's where what we're talking about is strengths thinking, not gap thinking, right? Don't concentrate on
Ah.
what's not working on but concentrate on your strengths, as you said in the beginning of our talk. Absolutely. Great. Nice
Yeah.
tips.
Yes, I love that, Ilse. And so then, what's a tip for us to start discovering or live according to our strengths?
Yeah. So obviously, doing tests around it. I think we both have our own methodology, but doing something like that is always helping to give insight. That's clear. But if not, then I suggest that one concentrates on one thing. Be aware of the energy that you get from an activity, and then try to grow it I like that sentence, when you know it you can grow it, something like that. So be use that today, like, okay, realize, okay, what gives me energy, or something like that. I enjoy doing that, so let me continue growing that, giving that more attention. If every day you grow it, it can become even stronger. So just be aware of the energy that something gives you, and then develop that. Do every day something more.
Yeah, I love that. That's a fantastic, fantastic tip. So for me
What
as
about
well,
you? Yeah.
yes, yes, I think assessments give us certainty that when we've done that assessment, here's some certainty at least. It's still not rocket, how can I say, it's not cast in stone, but it gives us more certainty than just trying to guess about these things. So you've got an assessment, I've got an assessment, and they both point us very firmly or strongly in the direction of our strength. So that's my first step, is do one of those.
Mhm.
And if you don't want to do that, not everybody does, and that's perfectly fine. Like you, I recommend to start thinking about moments in your life when you felt on top of the world. What was it that you were doing? What sort of qualities were you bringing in? What's the actual activity? What was your thinking pattern in that moment? How much energy did it give you? And start thinking about those activities and say, well, how can I do more of that? Can I bring in more of that at work or even at home? Or how can I practice more? How can I learn more in that area? What other things can I learn in that area? Skills to develop in that area, and then just start bringing it more into your life. And the energy that you get from that will certainly spill over to other
Definitely.
directions.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, anything else, Ilse, that you want to add before we
Oh, we could talk, I think, still for hours, but
we can?
um, no, I think this was good.
Yeah. So thank you for listening. Thank you for this wonderful conversation, Ilse. We both love talking about this topic. Thank you to our listeners. And if you want to find out more about your own strengths and how they can serve you and help you to find more clarity at work and enjoyment in your whole life, feel free to go to either of our websites. So Ilse's website is truenorthconsulting.eu, and my website is savvyselfgrowth.com. Drop us an email from there, and we will put these links also in the article that we will add together with this video. So thank you again for listening.
Thank you.